Hello, Craig.
Craig, you doing?
How that would be pretty cool if he could just like talk too. Like I'm sure they'll get like a chatbot version someday.
Yeah, that'd be
It'd be
pretty
kind
cool.
of neat. All right, Ray-Ban Vision.
It's a solid
The
brand sunglasses.
Yeah, don't you have a pair, right?
Yeah, I've had it since for about 7 years now. I've had the same
Yeah, I have
pair.
a pair too.
Are yours prescription or no?
No.
How about you, Dan?
Yeah, mine are prescription.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
How much more are the prescription lenses than like a normal lens sunglass?
I think I paid $500 for mine.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So it's like,
pricey.
yeah, it's like a lot more.
Yeah, it's like $300. Like the prescription lenses are like $300 more.
Wow. How much is it just a pair of like normal glasses? Because I don't wear glasses.
Like $300. Well, it depends.
really?
They can be expensive or cheap.
You can get them for as cheap as 150, probably as expensive as 500.
Yeah.
Damn. Are the 500, 600, are those just name brand or something or what?
Yeah,
Name
pretty
brand
much.
and very fancy lenses, like with
Oh yeah, super fancy
all the
lenses.
cool coatings and crap. But
So it's like, what do those lenses do better than like a normal lens? They just
They-
like don't fog up or something?
yeah, they
Yeah,
don't fog
Don't
up,
fog
scratch
up. Don't
resistant.
collect dust.
Yeah,
So is it worth it or no?
depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, it depends on how you handle your glasses. If you're like careful with them or not.
If you're Max Bash playing soccer, you want to go for that cheap pair. Or maybe you got to go for the indestructible expensive pair. Remember that time you got kicked in the face like 3 times in a row?
No, what's that game we're playing
World
called?
Cup.
World Cup.
Yeah, someone launches one in from the corner.
Bonk!
And
They just went flying off.
he wasn't playing goalie, right?
No. He was on the field.
Yeah, how did he get hit in the face though? I can't remember.
Oh, no. I remember like someone took a shot. So like, so it was like bouncing around from the corner.
Oh,
kick.
but he was in front of them.
He was in
between
front
the
of
goal.
him, and he just got
okay.
drilled in the face. Absolutely bamboozled. Knocks him off. Bends over, picks him up. The ball bounces away. Somebody else takes a shot. As soon as he puts it back on, bah, gets him again. And then I think Moskowitz like eventually like collected the ball, right? And then he like punted it, and then it hit him again. Oh man.
No, then he went for a shot and skied it over.
Yeah. Oh, didn't he just miss horrendously in that one game? Like the one game you guys ever had, Dan?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
where he scored.
Yeah.
It was brutal. I couldn't. I passed up almost
Oh,
a
the
short
Heskey.
goal, and
Heskey.
he could have. Yeah, it was harder for him not to score. It was a rough time.
Not
That
scoring
was-
was the impressive part.
Yeah.
That JV team might have been the worst sports team in the history of sports team.
What, the
When
one
me
we
and
played
you were on
against?
it. No. When me and TJ were on.
Freshman
the,
year.
The one
Freshman
we played against was pretty
Oh,
bad.
I'm sure they were pretty bad.
The one where
For,
where
like,
our
Taylor
team dropped
Swift's
7
team,
on them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You guys did drop 7 on
Dan, we didn't score a single goal the whole
Yeah.
season.
That
Not-
was so bad.
Not only did we not win a game, we didn't score a single goal.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That is
Shut up.
pathetic.
I feel like our JV lacrosse team was pretty bad the first year.
Yeah, but we scored some goals at least.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, the competition in our freshman year
Oh, yeah.
JV team was so
Teams were
much
pretty
more
good.
better. Yeah, those teams were good. Those are as good as like the varsity teams in the other years.
Yeah, it's like they just had too many varsity level players that some of them had to play JV.
Didn't we lose like 12-0 one game to like I
Taft.
forget who? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Oh
that was
my
when Mr. Martinez was filling in, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing, so you and Joe have to like go over everything." I'm like,
That was bad.
okay."
Yeah, we were.
So step
basically-
one, I'm never coming out of the game.
Yeah, that we played that whole game.
Yeah, I think I played almost every game like that. Like,
Yeah.
only had like maybe a 2-minute break at some point.
Yeah, I don't think like it would be halftime, and that was pretty much like the only rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad team. Remember Avi Losh?
Yeah.
Oh my
He like had decent skills, but he was so small that you
And he was slow too. He was a slow dude. Romil, man,
Oh, yeah,
star-studded cast.
Tyler Wordy.
Tyler Wordy.
What a squad.
Yeah, that was a squad. Tyler Wordy will never live down though, getting absolutely yammed on by Donovan Mitchell. At least he can say he was dunked on though by the slam dunk champion.
Yeah.
Like at least you
Yeah,
got
all
you got-
that
Yeah, of all the people to get dunked on by, that's not so bad.
That's not too bad. But I just remember the first 20 seconds of that game.
It was
Me
the
and you were
first
sitting
5.
there. Yeah, but no, remember he had that, and then he had another like sick dunk, like an alley oop.
Oh, he had like a windmill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had like
that's
a windmill, and then he had like a sick alley oop. I was
Like,
like,
the first
this is gonna
play
be a
of the
long
game,
one.
He
This is
like
gonna be a
jumped
long
up and
one.
palmed the ball and just ran down and yammed it on him.
Yeah, man. All right. Anyway, back to the
to
Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's cool how like Ray-Ban and has really like cemented itself as like it's like the sunglass brand, you know? Like for recognition and stuff.
Yeah,
them
like
and-
its
It's
style.
in all the movies, yeah, in the styles that they
It's
like.
either Ray-Bans or Aviators, always.
No, Aviators is Ray-Ban.
Aviators are Ray-Bans.
No,
but it's
Ray-
like that style. It's one of those two
Did you
styles.
read the paper?
Always.
No, but Ray-Ban isn't a style. It's the Wayfarer.
Oh,
Like,
that's what
the
it's called,
classic
Wayfair?
one. Yeah.
Is Wayfarer the one I
Ray-Ban's-
have?
Yeah, Wayfarer is the one
Yeah.
you have. Like it's like the plastic
Yeah.
frames.
Yeah.
It's like the classic sunglasses look. It's that they have the Aviator, and then they have another one called Clubmaster, which is basically the Wayfarer but with like a metal frame underneath, but like the
Uh-huh.
plastic on top. And those
I
are
like
like
that as much.
the three main ones. But that's
cool
in
that
like
they-
every single movie. Like if you look at like James Bond, like that's like Daniel Craig wears Ray-Bans. Like all the movie stars wear
Where
Ray-Bans.
Aviators or Wayfarers.
Yeah, Tom Cruise, Top
Yeah.
Gun. That's how you know you did it right. You just create like an icon.
They were originally created for aviation, those sunglasses.
Oh yeah, because the pilots needed it.
Yeah. It's kind of cool how stuff comes out of the military like that, like a pretty famous brand item.
Mhm.
Those
I
just
feel
have-
like a lot of like the solid brands that are around today or were originally made during wartime because they had to be like quality stuff and the
Yeah.
quality stuff lasts. So the
Yeah.
brand becomes big. It's like Swiss Army stuff.
Yeah.
Swiss Army knives. Like they make watches too.
Yeah, they get that sweet government contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy to think though, like back in the war and stuff, like World War II, how they just like completely diverted resources to the military. Like you couldn't get
Yeah,
stuff that
it's
you could
crazy.
normally get.
The way the economy just shifted and they just
Just started funneling it
Mobilize.
into all that stuff.
and just like disregarded everything else that was going on. Like that's something that I feel like would be really weird to see today is like having an entire country completely disregard whatever else they were doing to,
Yeah, I feel.
Like,
What do you think would be like the impact today?
I was just gonna say, like, is a World War III even possible?
No, I don't think so. I
Not
think
in
as
this
soon as they
current
invented the
economy.
atomic bomb, there's never going to be like warfare as we knew it again.
I agree with the premise, but I think it was the invention of the internet that caused it that makes it so that we won't see it like that anymore because business now is so much more interconnected than it used to be, and that it makes it so that countries it's not worth it, or is it plausible to go to war?
At least right now, I can't think of like a group of what would be enemies to us. Like, we're probably real good buddies with like Europe and like some South America, Canada.
It's- I
Like,
think it's
there's
just
no
Russia
other
and
group
China.
that could be bigger and better than that group.
What do you mean? Like
Like-
our team? Like
Yeah, our team. Yeah, we're like the Avengers.
Allies Part 3.
Yeah,
I don't know. Thanos rolls up. We're fucked.
Thanos.
Yeah, but I
I'm
feel
trying to
like
think, like maybe if like Russia, North Korea, China, yeah, and like the Middle East people too.
But the thing is, like, the atomic bomb just puts it all to shame because that's all you need. Like, once you have that, there's no really.
Yeah, but I feel like there'd be like a rule of war, like you can't use nukes.
Yeah, but then as soon as they start losing, they're like, fuck it, and they use the nuke.
Well, you got to have a way to intercept it.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, I feel like what's the number of it? There's like thousands. Like each of the big three nations has like thousands of nuclear.
The U.S. has 7,000.
I thought we had way
Russia
more.
has
like
4,000.
Russia's next. Yeah.
The U.S. used to have 21,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
And
some
then
ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
why do we need that many?
Just in case, you gotta watch
Yeah,
out.
just it's like all the nukes in the world. Though I think if you add them up, you can blow the Earth over like
5
completely, like 80 times or something
Yeah,
like that.
Probably. I think what's even crazier though is I'm pretty sure like a hurricane has way more destructive power than even the most powerful nuclear weapons
Yeah.
by like a
I
massive
think
magnitude.
No.
well, yes, but
What was
but
that? What was the big ass one? The Tsar.
Tsar
the
bomb.
Russians made?
Yeah.
That thing would do more damage than a hurricane.
No,
No,
that
I'm
thing,
pretty
like,
sure the actual
destroy,
like,
like-
destructive energy.
no, but that's because the hurricanes are so large. Like that's because the hurricanes have that massive. I think the largest hurricane is like 1,000 kilometers in diameter or something. And so, like if you put all that into like all that total energy is more than one of a nuclear bomb, but you think that that's spread out over 500 miles sometimes.
Yeah, but it's not just charring the whole land.
They fuck shit up.
The actual energy contained within a hurricane is way more than
Like,
Same like a tornado or something, probably. Like,
I don't know, maybe a tornado.
Tornadoes are so short though and really
Yeah.
compact. They don't
They're
last.
kind of small, but like Dan was saying, the land mass that a hurricane covers is huge.
yeah.
And like even the biggest atomic bombs probably don't blow up.
How much would like a average size nuke take out? Just like a city?
It's like a
No, not anymore. Like the hydrogen bombs that they have now take out way more. Like probably like a small state or like a small region
or
of
a
a
big
state.
city. A big city.
Or like a real big city.
Because I think Hiroshima's radius was a mile, and that was a very small nuclear.
Yeah. And also like most of the damage isn't done from the actual
Oh,
detonation
no.
of it. It's all from the
The
fall.
Tsar bomb is definitely doing some damage.
Oh yeah.
The
that
blast,
video is
What's the
insane.
radius?
Was-
Oh, I've seen that.
3,000 times as strong as the bomb used on Hiroshima, and it broke windows. So it broke windows 560 miles away. But you could probably feel it way farther than that.
Apparently, they could detect the motion around the Earth 3 times. Like
Oh,
the
really?
the force radius, like the wave of force from it, it like circled the Earth 3 times.
Damn.
Yeah.
Man, that's so crazy.
The heat energy released by a hurricane in one day can equal the energy released by the fusion of 420 megaton hydrogen bombs. So that's
Yeah, so hurricanes clap atomic.
No, that's not that much more. How much was it? How many more times
400 times.
than a hydrogen bomb?
Then 20 megaton. Then the amount of energy released by 420 megaton hydrogen bomb.
So
Alright.
it's 400 times as powerful.
Yeah.
Every second, a hurricane releases as much energy as the explosion of the atomic bomb at Hiroshima.
Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy.
Damn, nature, you scary.
Yeah, it's cool. Nature's wild though. Those hurricanes, they get real big.
Yeah.
What's the scariest natural disaster?
Super
Ooh.
volcano.
Yeah, super volcano hands down.
Yeah.
Unless you count do you count like meteors and stuff into that or no?
No,
Or
because
does
that's
that
not
to be
something that
contained
like
within Earth?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't really.
Yeah, super volcanoes definitely.
Yeah. Yellowstone could casually just like blow up tomorrow, and the whole world would just be like done. We'd be all set with it.
Yeah. The thing about that though is like I don't know if that's as intimidating like in the moment if you were to die from that, because I feel like it would be pretty instant if you were near the blast zone. Like if you died from the starvation and stuff when it blots out the sun, that would be pretty terrifying because it's like a slow death. But I think like looking whatever, like looking the natural disaster in the eye, I think a tsunami would probably be the
Oh my
most
god,
terrifying.
true.
Chandala was telling me about
Oh yeah, definitely.
the what's it called, the Boxing Day tsunami in Sri Lanka, like when the just went through. Oh my god, that sounded crazy. It killed so many people.
Oh my god, I was watching some YouTube channel, and it was like the 5 worst what do you
Natural
call it? Like
disasters?
ancient natural disasters. And he's saying how sometimes probably when the continents were still Pangea, if a cliff broke off on the side, like somehow giant cliff, like an island, pretty much broke off the side into the water, and it made a wave like a couple miles high.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's like the Lituya Bay tsunami in Alaska had like it happened in 1958, but it was generally considered to be one of the largest tsunamis of all time.
How tall was that one?
I'm trying to get it now. I know it was let's see, 1,700 feet.
Oh damn.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
imagine just facing that down would be absolutely terrifying.
I think that might be one of the. That would be kind of a cool way to go, though. Just staring down a giant wave.
Yeah, I think it'd be.
I'm gonna
it's
ride
inevitable.
this baby out.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it'd
about to
be-
ride this baby for miles.
in a way, like if you just sort of like, you know,
I feel like going to a natural disaster is pretty cool.
yeah.
Like as long as it's like, I don't know,
As long as you're not like
it's a quick and painless death. But
as long as-
Sit on top of the volcano when it blows up and get sent to the moon. To the moon.
to the moon.
yeah, as long as you're not being like one of those chumpos trying to drive in a hurricane, like that'd be lame. But like,
I saw another really
Or
cool
getting
thing.
like pinned in if there's like an earthquake. You know,
Yeah.
like a building collapses on you.
Oh yeah.
That would suck. But to be taken out. Oh, have you seen? You know, it's really scary though. Have you ever seen the people in Pompeii that are frozen in like the
Oh, yeah.
ash?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So terrifying, man. Like you can
Yeah.
see their expressions on their face.
must have been
It's like
surprising.
was it Gears 2? They had that stuff when they used the hammer at dawn. You can like walk through the city and
Oh yeah,
hit
yeah.
people as they're ash and they fall down.
Dude, I feel like something like that's gonna come about pretty soon. Like a
Oh, yeah.
satellite weapon like that.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna.
The
That's gonna
Space
be
Force.
Something else. Yeah, Space Force. You know what I was thinking of the other day? What if there was like a volunteer, like kind of service in the U.S. where you just like improved like infrastructure and the environment, stuff like that?
I feel like
Like what's that called? They used to do it in like the 60s and they
Not
would
the
go over
Peace
to
Corps.
Africa and do it.
Not-
the
not-
Peace Corps.
Sort
Peace
of like
Corps,
a
yeah.
Peace Corps, yeah, but like
The
more
Peace Corps is
focused
still a
on
thing. Still
on
around.
on improving like the U.S. itself.
Yeah. That's like the New Deal. That's what it was, right? Giving a bunch of people government work to just do stuff.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
would pay them.
I think the environment, like picking up trash and stuff, or like they should make that an option for like like civil crimes instead of like forcing people to pay. It's like, or you can do this many hours of community service.
That's a thing.
You don't have the
for
option to,
criminal.
though.
For criminal, I see what you're saying. So for
Yeah,
that's an
so like
option
if you
for
get a
criminals,
speeding
but-
ticket, instead of having to pay the stupid ticket, it's just like you do like 8 hours on a Saturday of community service.
that's a
That'd
good
be
idea.
great.
Pick
I
up
would do
trash.
that.
Yeah, I'd do that too.
I would
That would
absolutely
be
do
so
it, but
much better too, because then you don't spite the system either. Like you start resenting
Yeah.
the system.
oh,
when
I
you're-
absolutely hate it. I
I
hate
hate
every
But
part
if you
of it.
if you had to do some good, like you'd still get angry for a bit, but then like when you're doing that, you do
But
some good and you
you're
feel
getting-
good about
you're
yourself.
getting something out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess
But
the worry
You're not pouring your money into the system to pay Dan $100 an hour
Yeah, sit on his ass.
to do crossword puzzles
Yeah.
on the
I was
bus.
gonna say that's why they would never approve it though, because it would take away so much revenue. Like
Well, and
tax
also the incentive. I guess the worry is like if the idea is to prevent people from speeding, and there are a lot of people who really don't mind community service and actually like would need like I kind of need an excuse to do more community service. Like I'd be like, oh, whatever, I'll speed. Who gives a shit? Like that would, I guess.
Yeah,
it
but
wouldn't-
then if you do like 3 times, you still lose your license.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, you still have penalties.
It's
and-
just like there's no fiscal penalty, or monetary
Yeah.
penalty.
It was still like
I think there should still be a like you just choose whether or not you want to do.
No, because
service
I
or
was
pay.
thinking like, say that like a speeding ticket. If you're doing like 80 on the highway, which everyone does, they should also increase speed limits too. They're way too slow. Cars can handle much more than when they first established them.
I
but-
don't think speed limits are going to be a problem once they come up with the self-driving cars and stuff, though. Like that's going to be rendered obsolete pretty soon.
It should, but
It will be. I mean, like also,
it's until every single person is in one of those, and that could be
yeah.
forever. That could be like 50 years.
The problem is though, like if they increase the speed limits, then the dumbasses who drive like 120 now are going to drive like even faster.
No,
Like, you're going to get more of that.
yeah.
Like and also
people just
like
shouldn't be idiots. It should be like you can tell when you're like reaching the point where it's like I'm like starting to lose control.
yeah,
of the car.
you can, but other people can't.
Because they're idiots. They shouldn't have licenses to begin with. Then you should be like, there should be tiers to a license. It shouldn't just be you have a license or not. It should be like, yeah, this person's like proven that.
You should have to take the test more often. Like you should have to do
Yeah, it should be like
more
every
demanding
3
stuff.
years,
Yeah. Maybe not every 3 years. It's like
That's a
5
lot.
maybe.
whenever you have to renew your license, maybe
Yeah, was that like 5?
5
Something like
years. I
that.
think. Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah, I have to renew my license.
But yeah, there should be like tiers. So like if you're an ass driver, you can't do the stuff that someone who's like really attentive and like just like does well behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I don't know about that though.
I don't know how that would work. I'm pretty sure people.
Yeah,
would
how is that gonna work? Then like the cop pulls you over and you show him your license and you're like, oh, I have
Yeah, you'd have like a badge on your license plate or something telling them what level driver you are.
Yeah, but how are they gonna evaluate that? Like, you can just drive really well for the test and drive like a jackass. There's plenty of people that pass their tests that we know that should
Yeah.
not be able to.
That's what I'm
drive.
saying. It shouldn't just be one test. It should be like,
I know, but then that costs way too
But,
much
like-
money.
That's a lot of money.
but with like all the things that cars can collect now, data wise, they should be able to tell like
Who's an ass driver?
how well you drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that's kind of an invasion of privacy. Like, when
No.
are they going to stop with that? Like, what else are they going to collect on you?
They're collecting everything already.
I know, but like, I'd
Everything
rather
you
not.
do in
Like,
your life is getting
I'd rather
collected.
not voluntarily give that away.
No, I don't care.
Give away your driving stats.
Yeah, it's driving a car. Who cares?
Really important to you?
No, it's not. It's more so the principle. Like, you know,
Yeah,
if
you
shift
apply the
line
principle
back-
in other
like,
things though.
If you have a line somewhere and you continually shift it back by like half an inch every year, after 100 years, you're going to be like pretty far back from where you started.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's for the better of society.
What if you started in a pretty
Doesn't
jank
matter.
place?
Yeah, but I don't know if driving, like, I don't know if
You're not going to be driving in
driving's not going to be
50 years.
anyway. So
Yeah, it's true. What you were saying
kind
about
of a moot point.
yeah, what you were saying about it happening in 50 years, like it is like that stuff does kind of happen faster than you think. It was only I don't know 1970. I guess that was 50 years ago that almost no one had a personal computer, and now everyone
Yeah.
does. But I guess that was 1970. So yeah.
Well,
50
cars, I'm
years.
thinking because it's got to get to the point where everyone can easily afford it, and then you have to wait for those people who hold on to a car for like 20 years for them to finally get one, and that could be like 50.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you mean? Like are you talking about the automated car? Like
Yeah, so
automated
let's take
driving?
it takes like
No, but what I think will happen though is that they'll do a completely separate highway system that's just for automated cars, and they'll still
no,
have
that's
the-
way too expensive.
No, there's no other way to integrate it safely. Otherwise, then you'd have to subsidize people getting
No, you just have
automated
to
cars. You have
you
to
just
get
have to-
everybody on it.
no, because the technology is going to get good enough to be able to avoid it, and whenever there's an accident, it's pretty much close to 100% of the time going to be the manual driver's fault.
Like you can't have the AI drivers driving on the automated drivers driving on the same roads as the humans, because that just adds a whole layer of unpredictability to
No.
Oh yeah, it does.
Oh yeah,
That's the most difficult part about it.
We have a bunch of drivers that are controlling of themselves. There's a ton of unpredictability right now. It only
Yeah.
makes it safer the less you take off the road.
No, but the problem with the algorithms don't respond well to that spontaneity.
Isn't that the whole point of
that's
AI? It mimics all the possibilities.
yeah, but then you have to exponentially increase the computing power.
Yeah, I guarantee that'll happen though. As these get cheaper, you can add more. That's how it happens right now. Cars are so expensive because they just keep adding useless shit into them.
Yeah, but we're also reaching the limits of like the silicon chip. Like
There's gonna be a
we're
breakthrough
shrinking
though.
it down so far that like it's becoming an issue. Like everything's so small. Like we've gotten to a point where we can't like shrink it much further.
Need like nano computing.
Yeah. Well, they need to find like a new material because I think the issue is with heat. Like it's generating too much heat.
Oh,
So they need to find a material that's either like a better conductor or it dissipates heat better. I'm not exactly sure on the specifics, but I know there's a lot of research into that because they're starting to kind of like hit a wall with how small they can get it because they're just limited by the material properties. But I think it would be cheaper just to build like a separate highway system.
See, I feel like the better way to do it would be once it like really takes hold is like, and this is when more people have self-driving cars than not, is you just say like you just build roads and stuff specifically for people who just want to drive. Like you have just tracks and stuff for like people to take their cars as a novelty. You know?
Oh yeah, I think that will definitely still be a thing as well.
Yeah.
Because no one's like it's still a fun activity to do. So I think there'll still be roads, but it will be completely separate from the autonomous like transportation.
Yeah.
It's like you can't drive your car on train tracks, you know. It's like that.
Yeah, true. Well, you can, but
you can. If you want to end up in a driver's ed safety video.
True. 2 hours. How to not be. Although that wasn't all
not
about
get hit by a train.
That wasn't all about driving. That was also about not getting hit by a train, just walking down the road.
Yeah.
Big tip: don't jump in front of a train.
I can't believe how many videos are out there of just completely disregarding those train like the gates that come down.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's passing by, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I can definitely make this."
yeah. People who like drive around it, like the gate's down, and they like go around it, and then get stuck on the tracks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get murked by the train.
Yeah.
Coming in hot.
People are stupid.
True. So how about Luxottica, the owner of Ray-Ban?
I didn't know too much about this before I started reading into this article, but that might be one of the most broken companies in the world. Like that, they have to do something to make this so it can't happen because it's straight up vertical monopoly.
Yeah, I don't know. They just approved the merger too.
I know it's so broken. They own Ray-Ban, Persol, Oakley. What else does it say on this list? Giorgio Armani, Brooks Brothers, Bulgari, Burberry, Chanel, Coach, like literally every premium brand of sunglasses. And then it says down here, monopolistic pricing practices, been criticized multiple times for high price of its brand name glasses. It basically shut down Oakley for a bit to hike up the prices of Ray-Ban, and then they hiked up the prices of Oakley. That's ridiculous.
They also own iMed Vision Care, so they own the insurance.
Yeah, they own insurance.
What did it say the market share is? I think it's like 30 or 40%.
I think it's 25 with the merger.
25? Oh my god, it's ridiculous.
That's a lot.
But I don't know how. I guess since it's like international because it's from Italy.
Well, yeah, the U.S. can't do anything about it.
We can't do anything. But I mean, you think that the EU would have some sort of.
Nah, it's corrupt. They probably gave the guy like $50 million to let the merger happen.
Probably. I feel like Amazon's starting to get there in the U.S.
Yeah, that's sort of an interesting topic that I feel like people are just starting to talk about more. That like between Amazon and
even
Google
Walmart too. Like Walmart is sneakily, although Walmart is kind of like seen as a different entity to those, like they're sneakily trying to get into a bit of everything as well.
Yeah, but Walmart doesn't do like I feel like because where Amazon really like has a big hold is in a lot of their business to business work and like their web services and all this like
Oh yeah, they own like the whole thing with Amazon Web Services,
yeah,
AWS. Yeah,
it's
that it
huge
runs like
and
everything.
yeah, and it like controls a lot of the business traffic in the world. Like a lot, and a lot of different companies use Amazon Business is a branch of Amazon that does quite a bit of volume, and that whole thing is kind of it's more behind the scene. Like Walmart's more consumer based, whereas Amazon has sort of transitioned to be have a lot of business in it, but which makes it more of a kind of a monopoly type thing.
Yeah. No, I think Amazon is definitely the real powerhouse in the conversation because,
Yeah,
and also they just have all the data.
Them
yeah,
as
and
well.
Apple, like for what they do, their market share is insane.
But also, Samsung makes all their parts. So, I mean, it's like Samsung, Apple, and then Huawei, which is the Chinese one.
yeah.
Yeah,
But there's competition there. That's not. It's
Yeah,
not like
there's a
Amazon
little
where.
more competition, and also I think people are starting to realize that they can hold out on buying new phones. Like I feel like a couple years ago, there's so many
it's
more
going
people
like
buying a
every
new
year.
one every single year, and then as the prices they start hiking up the prices, people are like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. I'm not
Yeah,
going to buy a new one every year because I've just noticed among my friends and people at school that you'd see like is after the what was the iPhone X, the iPhone 10. Once that one came out and it was like I think the MSRP when it launched was like 1,000 or 1,100 bucks,
yeah.
something crazy. And that's
Yeah.
when people started drawing the line.
That
Like I
costs more
saw
than a MacBook Air. How is that possible?
it's ridiculous. I mean, it is understandable because like think about how often you use that. Like that $1,000 pretty good bang for your buck. You're using that every day for like hours a day.
Well,
But
if it
compared to the previous year where it
But
was like
no,
800,
exactly. That's where
like
it gets
what they
ridiculous.
put $200 worth of hardware in there?
Yeah, I
No
don't
way.
think so. I like how they got caught though with the whole battery thing. Like that was
Yeah.
pretty
oh yeah,
fucking
with
sleazy.
and
That was tricky.
they also got bagged for like I think it was along the same lines of making those updates that like I think they can't make updates that like potentially break the phone now
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
they were straight up like I
Yeah,
think
that's
around
what
the
I think it
iPhone
was the
4.
updates that were doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like causing the battery to die and like
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know.
and
I've
it
had the
wouldn't
same
run
phone
as
for
well.
3 years now.
Yeah, what you said you have 7, right?
Yeah, I have 7 and I've had it for
Yeah,
a
I have
while.
7 plus. What's yours,
I
T?
still I still got the 6.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
runs fine, right? I mean, it's
No,
like
it runs like dog shit.
oh, really?
Oh really?
Yeah. I need a new one.
I think the
Oh.
6 was the last one that was
Is it 6 or 6S?
6.
my
Okay.
6
So
was
that
kind of
then it's kind of far back.
I've had it for like 4 years now.
Yeah, that's pretty
pretty
far
old.
back. I
Computers
think
start
4
to
years
go
is
at
a
4.
solid cycle. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Like my computer is 5 and it's
Mm-hmm.
starting to show its age.
That's reasonable to me.
Yeah.
I mean, but every year is ridiculous.
You know what else I don't get?
What?
The monopoly on utilities.
Oh yeah,
in the US.
that's the.
How
Oh,
did
but
that
that's-
happen?
Definitely think
That's
that's the most
regulated
broken
though
thing
because
in the
you
Yeah.
can't
country.
No, that's
You know what made me think of it?
When you
So
had to
they-
deal with Comcast and they fucked up your shit.
No, not only that, but I was coming back from work today to go to class, so I have to go down Mass Ave and cross over the bridge, and it took forever. I'm like, it's the middle of the day. How is there possibly traffic? You know that main intersection of Boylston and Mass Ave?
Mm-hmm.
National Grid had the entire intersection dug up, so 2 lanes were down to 1, and it went to the left-hand turn lane. So if someone was trying to turn left and they couldn't go, no one could move. It took me
Oh,
like 45 minutes to get 3 miles.
so
that's
the
insane.
thing so the thing with the electric companies is they're regulated monopolies by the government so they can't price gouge and also so
Yeah.
that the idea is that if there was competition you'd actually have a lot worse of a time because you'd have 4 different companies digging up the road all at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
when you said that, I was thinking internet service providers like ISPs.
Oh, I hate those too.
Yeah.
I hate those even
No,
more.
I think the utilities is fine because as Dan said.
Yeah, but if there was competition when they were building it all, they would have had
Yeah, but
separate
it's,
stuff
that's
for
just the
everyone.
way it is.
but
Like
then
in
it would
electricity is
discriminate too much. Yeah, electricity became too important for them to have different qualities between different people and have that ability to discriminate. And it would probably generate a lot of inequality if rich people could buy better electricity than poor people.
And electricity is electricity.
I don't know if you could buy more, like if they could, but
it's probably just about how reliable it is.
Yeah, but if a
Probably the only
company
factor.
did get a monopoly, like naturally, and it was unregulated, then they could really price gouge people and really screw people over.
I think it's more so about how like the infrastructure is located with, like, to add another layer to that and have there be more players in the game, you have to coordinate between them, like who's going to be digging up what, like who's working on what, like if there would be like lines crossing other lines. So if you had to, like, one company had a particular line on one street and it crossed over with another, then you'd have to get both of those companies involved instead of just relying on one.
That's how it is with everything else, though.
I know, but for electricity, it's like necessary for so many other things. Like if electricity gets knocked out, it's a huge domino effect. If internet gets knocked out, it's starting to become a huge domino effect now too. So that's why I think having the ISPs kind of unchecked and super corrupt is no bueno either. But the thing is, like, if your internet goes out, it's an inconvenience as opposed to like more of a danger.
Plus, yeah, I was gonna say electricity. There's a sense of like if a power line gets knocked to the ground, like there's a real danger
it's
there.
Inherent danger, yeah.
Like like people can get shocked, and to have they need to have one switch like to control the grid, like to be able to shut it all off at once. And if it was two separate companies, like you would need to coordinate that, and that would be
you could all have it feeding to the same place. It's just about how you manufacture. You can all send it to the grid. You just need to be making it somewhere.
Yeah, but the thing is,
and then you meter that.
Wait, what exactly do you mean? I'm getting a little confused.
So like it's one infrastructure to all the houses, but how they produce it, it's like competitive because you want to be able to produce it for as cheap as possible. But you all send it to the same grid, but you like meter each location so you can tell how much they're outputting.
I'm not sure that would make it cheaper. They keep electricity pretty low right now.
I mean now it's low, but it wasn't before.
When? Like years and years ago.
Like 10 years ago, probably. Starting like 10 years ago, I feel like it's gotten a lot cheaper.
Were you paying electricity 10 years ago?
No, just based on what I heard. I thought it's gotten like fairly cheap recently.
I don't know.
I mean, it's constantly getting cheaper just because we're getting more.
It's starting to get more expensive though as more people are using it. Because they're not doing anything to the grid.
You broke up a bit there. What were you saying?
It's starting to get more expensive as there's more need with all devices and stuff that you have plugged in. It's starting to get more expensive.
No, but not per kilowatt hour. The actual price is not more expensive. It's just you're using more electricity. So that's just
but they have to charge more. It's not like
the problem with that though is because the infrastructure. It all depends on peak load
for building it.
But the
because
problem,
it's through the government, it's just like they don't pay for it.
But the main problem with the electricity system here is this is like what my old company did. Like since we worked with electricity utilities so often, but what they want to do is they want to reduce rather the peak demand. So like whatever the peak demand is, you have to design your entire infrastructure.
Yeah.
Whatever the most electricity being used at a particular time of day is.
Yeah.
So if they can level that, like if they can lessen that peak load, then they don't need they don't need to replace the infrastructure to be rated to handle that level of electricity, that level of current going through. So what they're trying to do is like,
but like regulations we have are not. They're not like incentivizing to do that. Like some places are.
The price is literally, for me, the price literally goes up for like when the temperature is very high or very low. Like,
yeah, because
price
everybody
goes
else
up,
is using it.
because and they do that to make you turn up
To-
your AC and not have it really low.
No, but I'm saying like if you get like solar panels and stuff, you can't store your energy in a lot of states.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, in Connecticut,
What do you mean? What
No,
do
you
mean,
can't
like in a
store it in
battery?
Connecticut. Yeah, you have to send it back.
Yeah, and they pay you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's messed up because the way it's set up, like you don't have a sub meter, so they a lot of the time don't give you as much as you should be getting.
No, you get exactly the amount that you would pay for that energy.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's fucked up somehow right now.
I don't think so,
I don't
TJ.
know about that.
Let me look this up.
Yeah, my dad was saying he was thinking about getting solar panels, and that people have gotten it to pay their entire electric bill off a solar panel, and then they actually just get money from the electric company for the amount of electricity they send back.
No, that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, like the payout, like the solar panels are super expensive.
Yeah.
So like you're at a loss for, it's usually like 10 years, or
Yeah, I
it
think
depends
they
on the
say 10 to
efficiency
15
of the panel and how much you get them for, like what kind of deal you get on it, and then
Yeah.
also the location that you're in, how much sunlight you get.
Yeah.
If there's any like trees in the way, like blocking sunlight from getting to your roof, whatever. But I think the average payback period is like somewhere between 10 and 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
after
think it's
that
around
point, you
20.
can start making money.
And don't they only last like 15 years anyway? Like maybe the new ones last longer, but I know they don't have a super long lifespan.
Yeah, I think though that like even replacing them, you still would be in the green.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think the main things that you need to replace are like it's not so much the panel, like the panels last a pretty long time. The thing is that the technology is just speeding up, like they're getting so efficient so fast that so let's say the efficiency, I think the average efficiency right now is hovering around like somewhere around like 15% or something like that. But
Yeah.
10 years ago, the average efficiency was like 6% or something.
Oh wow.
So people, you kind of have to weigh the options, like whether it's going to be worth it. Because if they find a breakthrough in the scientific breakthrough in the next like 5 years, and you buy 15% energy efficient solar panels now, and 3 years later they come out with 25% efficiency panels, you're losing a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, you're not losing a lot of money, but like you could have stood to gain more by technically waiting it out.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
TJ, what'd you find?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm reading right now.
It's super confusing. I mean, there's totally a possibility that it's getting messed up somewhere along the line because it's a massive industry and it services pretty much everyone. So I'm sure it happens, but I don't think it's like a conspiracy against the solar panel groups.
No, not against it, but that's just what's happening.
I feel like, but solar is getting so big now that if that sort of stuff was happening, like people would take notice. That would be like all over the news.
Yeah.
If it was going on a widespread scale.
I know but people are so quick to outraged over stuff. If that was, if there was a real problem, you'd probably hear about it. I know electric companies. I pay a little bit extra on my electric to pay for green energy, supposedly, because you can like make it to tell you you can like tell them to
where
use solar power. Yeah, yeah. It's sourced from green energy, which is like they're also using it, so because it's cheaper for them. So I wonder, like, I don't know. They're usually pretty fair. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, electricity. I don't think the actual price of electricity.
Yeah. See, I was right. In 2018, Connecticut got away with net metering, which net metering is when you make more during the daylight when the that's like when the peak is, so it's most expensive. You get it at that price, and then if you have it stored though, you use it, it's at the same retail price. So if it's like when the strain isn't as high, it's cheaper. But then they got away with it so that I think it's always the cheapest, not like when you make it for the demand. So you get screwed like not making as much money off of it.
Can you send that over to me? Because it's a little confusing. I can't
I'm still
really
trying to
tell
read through it.
what you're saying. I sort of get what you're saying, but
I get it.
send it
like-
over to me.
It's like it's charging the lowest possible price.
Who's charging the lowest possible
The-
price?
the-
Like
the
the
elec- the electric
utilities
company is-
buying it back for the lowest possible
Yeah.
price?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how are they going to know when you generated it if you stored it?
Well, that could be.
No, because in Connecticut you can't store it. I think you have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
sell it
right.
back,
Oh, okay.
which is also stupid. You should be able to store it.
I think the reason that they don't want to store it, though, actually, I don't know.
It makes no sense because all you have to do is you charge your battery at night when it's the cheapest, and then you use the battery during the day when it's the most expensive.
You can't charge your battery at night.
Yeah, you can.
How? There's
It's
no
not
sunlight.
solar powered. You just take it from the grid.
Oh, that's the. I think that's the problem then.
No, like you can do it both ways. But if you don't fill up your battery like throughout the day based on sunlight, it'll fill up overnight and then use it during the day to in conjunction with your solar panels to be like way cheaper. Like you're not using anything from the grid pretty much.
But you don't really need to use anything in the day because people are away. All the
No,
peak,
but like when you get like right now, when you get home at like 5, it's still light out for 3 hours. And
yeah,
that's
but
when
that's not when you're getting peak power production from the solar panels.
No, yeah, it's during the day. But it carries over so that like first 3 hours where the peak is extremely high, you can just use it then. And whatever excess you're making, you're selling it back.
Yeah, so but the thing is, if you're charging your battery at night from the grid, that means everybody would do that. So then the strain on the system, because the peak demand at that time, because charging a battery is like filling up a battery is going to be so much more demanding than running your house, like whatever you'd normally.
No,
be
because if you
running
have
at
solar
night.
panels too, then it's charging mostly. But whatever you don't fill up just fills up overnight.
From the grid.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't always have to do it. Like during the summer, you probably don't have to do it. Your solar panels, and you have enough batteries to hold it. Your solar panels could just power your house the whole time.
Yeah, but the problem is batteries are the most expensive thing, and
Yeah, but they're getting way
deteriorate
cheaper.
quickly.
Interestingly,
Yeah, it's really expensive to dispose of them too.
Interestingly, this isn't a widespread thing across the country. It's a Connecticut, Maine, Nevada, and Maryland thing. Apparently, are the people that have those policies. It's really not a huge.
No, these are the states where it was just eliminated.
Yeah,
This
but
might not have
apparently
ever existed in other states. It might just be like this always.
Apparently, they have pretty good ones in Mass, New York, and New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mass, I would expect it to be. They're like always a energy leading state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Massachusetts and
Them,
California.
it's like California and then Mass. California, Colorado, and Mass.
Mm-hmm.
Energy's cool. It's a fun concept.
Like I think there's a town in Texas where recently they're like already carbon neutral. They don't use any energy from the grid. Everything is like renewable energy. Powers the entire city.
One of the European countries is like that too.
I know
They've been
Germany was
carbon
trying.
neutral for a while.
Could it be Luxembourg, one of the small ones?
Yeah, I think it was one of the, or maybe it was like Netherlands
Yeah.
or something. 'Cause they have a lot of like power.
They have a lot of
there.
wind
I
power,
forget.
right?
Yeah, a lot of wind power.
Yeah.
They've been doing that forever. I'm pretty sure they or I don't know if they invented, but they've always had like a ton of windmills throughout history.
They have really beautiful windmills, the Dutch.
They got some nice windmills.
Yeah. Really makes you happy to see. You love a good windmill.
Yeah.
That's something you always like to see.
You know what kind of pissed me off? There's a whole bunch of people. They're trying to install windmills out in like what's it called? Nantucket Sound off of
Yeah.
Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Because it's super windy and there's like you can get a ton of energy out there. So they're going to put these windmills out in Nantucket Sound. And then people didn't want that because they're like, "Oh yeah, it looks ugly." But the thing is, it would be generating like enormous amounts of clean energy, and
Yeah.
also it's good for the fish too because it acts as like an artificial reef.
Yeah.
So it helps the fish population, and we're already struggling like immensely with overfishing and our oceans being depleted. And you get clean energy. It's just like a bit of an eyesore.
I think they look nice. I don't know.
I think they look kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't think.
So I'm not like I was pissed off by that.
Yeah, I think they look
because that's just free energy, man.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen those pads? They like take the kinetic energy from waves.
Yeah, tidal energy.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's gonna start to become a bit bigger too. But I don't get what's with all these people like, oh, it's an eyesore. Like, oh man, it looks ugly. Yeah, there's not going to be anything to look at.
Yeah.
In 50 years if we don't do it.
Oh, you know what's an eyesore? A forest of dead trees.
Yeah, a forest of dead trees.
Or
some
burnt trees.
Smog.
Yeah.
Smog in my eyes.
Yeah, where you got to clear the smog just to see them.
Trash.
I guarantee all those people have to be over 50 years old. If you're under 40, there's no way you can be like against that stuff. It just doesn't make sense.
I'm not a huge fan of the people who, like super crunchy granola, green
No,
team, but like if we don't do something about
like,
this, we're fucked.
Everyone.
Like, I don't understand how people keep on pushing this off. I don't understand how there's not some like huge world
it's
coalition.
It's so much cheaper too. I don't understand.
There's
no bad reason for it.
Yeah, it's literally free. The wind is the ridiculous, really windy spots. It's just wind.
I don't understand at all. There's just so much money to be made. The initial investment is steep, but there's so much money to be made. I don't understand why a couple of these billionaire guys haven't gotten to just eliminated this sort of stuff.
Yeah, because they all make money off the oil.
They all like going to space instead.
Space is cool though.
It is cool. I don't mind that. It's just like I'm surprised there hasn't been a bigger push. Like out of the things that like the billionaires seem to be obsessed with, it tends to be space. It's a shame that it's not environmental stuff too.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's their money. We just got to become billionaires and do it.
All right.
I'll say Elon Musk is pretty into the whole renewable thing. One of his companies is just all about that.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. He more so than the rest, but I mean SpaceX is probably more of what he's known for. What about Bill Gates? Like, what is he? I know he does a bunch of.
He does like disease stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's
real big into
diseases. You gotta watch out for that.
There's gonna be nothing to worry about. We don't have to worry about diseases if everything is just gone and dead.
True.
There's always something though.
What do you mean?
Something will always come back.
Oh yeah. But will it be us? Probably not.
Also, at some point, the sun will be too hot. Like Earth will just kind of turn into the next Venus. So, like, there's a range of.
Oh, we'll be far off Earth by then, though.
No, I know, but like.
I mean, unless we just get absolutely murked by some inescapable disaster,
or we murk ourselves.
Yeah, or that.
Or gamma ray bursts. Watch out for that shit.
Yeah.
Gamma ray bursts.
And then we all become
into
the Hulk.
Yeah.
But then we'd murk each other.
Just a big brawl in the streets.
Everybody's Hulks.
Nick and I were having a discussion about it the other day. How sick would it be if just like people start getting superpowers?
That'd be sick.
It would completely change everything.
That's true.
Overnight.
I'd go take apart the pyramids and put them back together. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty fun.
Those guys the pharaohs, they're probably like just walking out in the desert one day and they're like, you know what we should put here? A bunch of big triangles.
Big, real huge triangles.
This spot right here is lacking some triangles.
That would really honor me if you did that. That would make me feel so honored. Just a nice equilateral chilling right in there.
I wonder if we'll ever figure out like how exactly those were made. Because isn't there still a lot of debate about it? Or
I believe there's some debate. Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but
the pyramids.
Yeah, the pyramids, because each of those stones are huge. Like,
yeah,
I forget how much they weigh, but it's like
It's like 100 pounds or
tons.
something.
No, I think it's
No, it's like tons.
Yeah, I think it's like a couple, like 1,000 pounds. I think it's half a ton. I think it's about 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's insane.
Man, what years was that?
Like,
I think 3000 BC or something.
yeah,
Good
2500
God.
BC.
They were smart back then. Those pyramids are like, to build that is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
It'd be tough to build today with the stuff we had.
I don't know about that.
We should whip one up then.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty easy.
It'd be kind of
Not
fun.
easy, but it would take a lot of time, but we could whip them up pretty quick. Like it took like hundreds of years for them.
Yeah.
It would take like if we just devoted all the manpower of like a country to it.
Yeah, if everybody in the U.S. got together tomorrow,
we could build one big fucking pyramid.
They're only 450 feet tall. Like,
yeah, we could build one big pyramid.
Yeah.
I think what's more impressive than that, though, is all the stuff like the Colossus of Rhodes.
Yeah, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, that's to me more impressive because it's like so intricate, you know.
Yeah.
Making a whole human body that's like 100 feet tall.
Giant sculptures kind of amaze me, like how people can just see like.
Oh, that the giant outside of Bravos. That'd be sick if that was real.
Yeah, that's what the Colossus of Rhodes is.
Is it?
Yeah, it was smaller than the one in the show in Game of Thrones, but it's still like the same thing. I don't think it exists anymore. I think it got knocked down. I think it's just the feet.
Dang, the pyramids were the tallest man-made structure for 3,800 years. That's crazy.
What topped it? Like Eiffel Tower or something?
The Lincoln Cathedral in 1300.
Oh. How tall is that?
520 feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How tall is that thing at Six Flags?
420.
Oh, man. So what did you say the pyramids were? 450?
Yeah, the tallest roller coaster in the world, I think, is the same height. The King to
Oh, my gosh.
It's like 450.
I'm just thinking of the contraptions they must have had to build the blocks of that size up that high and like to the center.
I'm pretty sure it was just like well-placed sticks and rolling stuff around and really using physics.
Yeah. You can get ridiculous mechanical advantage with like pulleys too.
Yeah, like how did they figure out a pulley all the way back then?
I don't know. That's kind of simple.
It's pretty simple.
You can kind of figure that one out.
You don't need to know physics to be able to figure out a pulley. It's just
I'm more impressed with the dude who figured out how to accurately predict the circumference of the Earth. Like in that's 1,000. And he was within like 100 miles or something.
Yeah, that's
it was
crazy.
Stupid accurate.
And he did it with it was like a 3-foot stick, and like some shadows. Like, yeah, that's unbelievable.
That dude's a boss.
Or when you run out of math to learn, so you just make a new one.
Yeah, Isaac Newton was the fucking man. How old was he too? He was like younger than we are. Yeah, he's like
19 or 20. Yeah, let me just invent calculus.
I don't know how. That's also like inventing a math. I don't know how you do that. Oh, is math invented or discovered? That's sort of a fun question.
Definitely discovered.
Yeah, I agree.
Discovered. Yeah. It's like as a kid, you discover math.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like there's sometimes you learn.
Can there be another math though?
You discover math too, because remember when you were a kid and you're like learning math for the first time, and then you'd be like, oh, if I add these two numbers, and then like subtract the numbers that I added from the first one, like the sum, then I get the original number. I just remember like thinking I was like, oh, I'm so smart, and I was like, oh, no, wait a second, that's just subtraction.
Yeah, I
dumbass.
I caught myself like I saw like somebody we were like learning addition or something, and I remember somebody add 5, 25. I'm like, oh, like that's couldn't you just say like add 5 times and like 5? And I'm like, oh, I'm so smart. I just taught myself multiplication, but it's like, nah, it's just multiplication. Like, I definitely had the same feeling where I thought like, wow.
But for Isaac Newton, he literally just discovered a whole fucking sect.
It's not simple shit either.
I wonder if it like came easy to him. He's like, oh, how has nobody thought of this yet?
I'd really like to meet somebody like that, like one of those savants or something.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen those autistic savants that can like? There's one guy, he flies over a city and he has like photographic memory, and then he goes to this huge canvas that's basically like the size of a wall, like 20 by 20, and he just draws the entire cityscape from memory.
Jeez. It's like those painters back in the day, like the crazy paintings you see in the National Art Gallery that are like 20 feet long, that have just the ridiculous detail on them. It's the same type of thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, you know, it kind of bothers me, this modern art bullshit where it's just like a empty canvas and that's supposed to be art and that sells for like millions of dollars. That's total bullshit.
Yeah, to me, it's you gotta put work into it. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind being abstract. I don't mind.
I don't mind that either, but it's not impressive at all.
No, I don't know.
Impressive. It might be like aesthetically pleasing, like people might enjoy it, but it's not impressive. When you see like Sistine Chapel, that like or one of those ancient Greek sculptures of like Zeus or something, that's impressive.
I don't know, but like a well placed orange wall can be really pretty artsy. Like an orange
Really
wall,
speaks
like
to you.
in a field of cubes, like that really, that really makes your mind feel like you're not. It makes you feel like you're jiving. That's where I'm at with it. Like there's something to be said for being able to jive with it. Maybe it's not as hard work, or maybe I mean, it's not as impressive, but like, still to be. I don't know. I think that ancient stuff is so impressive because like they did it all without Google Images, like, let me just without the internet. Like, I don't know. I wonder if the internet's lowered the quality of art in the world.
On a total, like on a average,
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think just having, yeah, I actually don't know because I mean, there's no crappy paintings really that survived.
Yeah.
So you don't know. There could be tons of just like shitty old ancient artists out there.
That's true.
Their stuff just got smashed.
That'd be rough.
Yeah. I think Van Gogh was like that. I think he was considered like terrible in his day.
Well, they're like poets.
Yeah, he was. I was actually just talking about this in one of my classes. He's like died when he was like what, 30 maybe?
Yeah, he was pretty young.
And he didn't get famous until like way after.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple of poets like that too.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Like, does a lot of people like musicians like that too, where they die thinking they like didn't do anything, and then they become like super famous after.
Cool.
But they never know that, and that's kind of like fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
They never know how famous they became.
Well, I think that's a pretty good stopping point. I think that was a solid hour or so.
Yeah, we got into some industry. So all I ever want to talk about is industry. I only got in.
Well, I'd like to thank my good amigos, Mr. Daniel Miller and TJ Nesbit, for an absolutely riveting talk about Ray-Bans, pyramids, utility companies, aliens, and I don't know, anything else. Now I'm just rambling. Anyway, adios amigos.